ऑलराइट जेंटलमैन, तो आज के ज़माने में जंग, इलेक्शंस या शार्क टैंक के फंडिंग से पहले आपके पॉलिसीज़, स्ट्रैटेजीज़ या फिर आपके पीएनएल स्टेटमेंट से पहले आपका इमेज, प्रेजेंस और पर्सनालिटी जीती जा रही है। जी हाँ, अब आप चाहे किसी स्टार्टअप के फाउंडर हो, कहीं के नेता या फिर आर्म फोर्स के फौजी अफसर। Gentlemen, in today's world of optics and presence, the significance of your image, the significance of your personality and aura just can't be ignored. I mean, a very recent example that I can think of to further prove my point is the Indian Navy's presence during the Operation Sindhu. And yes, the same could be seen in some of our great leaders as well. From Indira Gandhi, tharoor, Narendra Modi to the global leaders like Macron, Putin, Obama, Bush, to name a few. तो आज के सोशल मीडिया या फिर इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड के युग में शक्ति, पावर या इन्फ्लुएंस का अर्थ सिर्फ आपके धनराशि, बल या फिर बुद्धि पे सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि आपका प्रेजेंस, इमेज, ऑरा और पर्सनालिटी भी उतनी ही ज़रूरी चीज़ है। तो अब सवाल ये उठता है जेंटलमैन कि हम जैसे आम इंसान, हम जैसे आम व्यक्ति आखिर इस स्ट्रेटेजिक प्रेजेंस का खेल कैसे समझे और इस स्ट्रेटेजिक प्रेजेंस या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक पर्सनालिटी का इस्तेमाल अपने लाइफ को कल से बेहतर बनाने के लिए कैसे करें। वेल माय फ्रेंड, टुडेज वीडियो इज जस्ट अबाउट दैट। तो मेरा नाम है मयंक भट्टाचार्य, यह है मेंस एसेंशियल्स। लेट्स रोल द इंट्रो। Okay, so first thing first, building your strategic presence is not about you copying somebody, or is not about you just trying to mimic somebody else into your own avatar, into your very own refined version. You probably have to do some introspection. You probably have to look deep within yourself to figure out what values do you stand for, what is the idea of life you have, and what lifestyle would you want to live going forward. In today's episode, I'll want to pick on 3 domestic leaders and then some global leaders to explain you why and how did they use the strategic presence that flowed very flawlessly with their natural persona and amplified their communication, amplified their leadership, amplified everything that they were to a whole new level. So bhai, we'll start with the list not with a man but with a woman instead. Yes, Srimati Indira Gandhi. Now, unlike many domestic political leaders, if you would see or if you would study the presence of Indira Gandhi, you would not see a lot of flashy items, you will not see a lot of flamboyant fashion that she would don. Yet, there was an element of aura, there was an element of charisma and power in her simple, minimalist clothes. Most often seen in a crisp white saree with a streak of grey hair, adding so much more gravitas and dynamics to her face and her presence as a whole. This image was not only graceful or timeless, but it was also very iconic and powerful whenever she would come to the public space and address the nation as a whole. She had a piercing glance, a very quiet, confident authority, but this quiet, confident authority is what made her one of the most feared leaders in the entire world. I mean, on the hindsight, whenever I see her pictures, whenever I listen to her public appearances, it just reminds me that how sharp, how competent was she at using her presence, using her style and image to rather amplify the impact of her public addressals and meetings. But gentlemen, it's not only that. Her aura, her presence was also a very stark reminder that you don't need to be flashy, you don't need to wear bright colors, or you don't need to do hideous things to have a powerful presence even on the global stage. I mean, when I come to think of it, do you know how difficult it is to pull a simple minimalist outfit like she did time and time again? Trust me, it's not easy, and trust me, you should give it a try as well. Because gentlemen, if you're someone from my school of thought who believes कि भाई फैशन और स्टाइल का काम है आपके कम्युनिकेशन को थोड़ा और इम्पैक्टफुल, थोड़ा और पावरफुल और आपके पर्सनालिटी को थोड़ा और कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री करना, आपकी कम्युनिकेशन को थोड़ा और इफेक्टिव बनाना, then your style, fashion and grooming should not overpower your presence. It should rather be a complementary thing to your overall magnetic presence. Now, if you're someone who is fairly outgoing, fairly loud, then you'll use fashion and style very differently. But if you're someone who aspires to be a leader and wants to use this sense of style, fashion and grooming as the end mean to probably add an impact to your delivery or to your communication, then I'll recommend you keep things timeless. I'll recommend you keep things classy. I'll recommend you let your personality, your ideas, your confidence and your thoughts and communication skills do the talking and not just flashy trendy outfits in general. But then what if you're the kind who wants to use his presence as another mode of communication, as a separate mode of communication and not just a thing complementary to his dialogue, speeches or action? Well, this is where our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes in. I mean, by God, the way he dresses and the amount of importance he gives to each one of his outfits, the color, the palette, the fit, the design, every fit, every outfit is not only deep rooted in our culture, but it is also highly complementary to his overall magnetic, massy personality. He wanted the country to become a lot more aspirational. He wanted to be the symbol of hope and symbol of image, presence and charisma. So he actively started to work on his image, his presence and his personality. I mean, if you would go back in the history and see him being the Chief Minister of Gujarat versus him being the Prime Minister of the country, there is a stark difference in the amount of presence and personality development our Prime Minister has gone through. It is evident, it is clear, and it is very obvious that he is very intentional about each and every single thing that he wears or chooses to wear time and time again. Now, even if you don't have the time, the money or the luxury to have such a fantastic wardrobe, you can at least learn from him and get the basics right. Watch and learn how he uses his body and braces the global leaders abroad. Notice how he carries himself at different various angles and how he sets the narrative of a leader either when he is in the country or when he is abroad. Gentlemen, you don't need a whole lot of things to learn the very basics of it, but you do need to put in the effort. You do need to become intentional with it. पिछले 10 से 12 सालों में अगर आप गौर से देखोगे, you will very easily see that our Prime Minister has changed around 3 to 4 looks altogether. There was this time, COVID phase, when he had a long beard. Then there was a time when he had a sharp tapered beard. Now he has a full size beard. There was a different hairstyle. There were different color palettes. He has done it all, and he is till date experimenting with his stylist, with his tailors, with his groomers to figure out the best optical way to make the brand India's presence felt in India एंड अब्रॉड. तो अगर आपको एक ऐसा लीडर बनना है, एक ऐसा नेता बनना है, एक ऐसा फाउंडर या फिर एक ऐसा कमाल का ऑफिसर बनना है जो भाई अपने टीम को, अपने कंपनी को, अपने सबॉर्डिनेट्स को अपने साथ लीड कर पाए, अपने साथ एक्साइटेड कर पाए, देन यू हैव टू एक्ट एंड बिहेव लाइक द लीडर. यू हैव टू लिव लाइक an example. And one of the very first things you can do when you're trying to act like a leader is start looking like a leader, start dressing like a leader, start giving the importance to your presence as a leader would. Our Prime Minister does it. Our Prime Ministers in the past have done it. What's your damn excuse? But then what if you're not much into massy style and fashion? What if you don't want to lead a startup? What if you don't want to have hundreds of people working under you or for you for some definitive goal or vision? What if you're someone who is a bit more intellectual, a bit more smart, a bit more sharp, wants to study, read or be on his own and do his own thing? Well, in that case, I do have a third archetype for you. Ji haan, you guessed it right, Mr. Shashi Tharoor. Now, unlike the first two leaders in discussion, Dr. Shashi Tharoor is not a massy leader. He represents the brand India in a very soft, intellectual manner. He represents the brand India in a very urbane, articulated manner. So, unlike Srimati Indira Gandhi or Shri Narendra Modi, Dr. Shashi Tharoor's presence is not about overpowering his whole intellect or his whole communication skills, because that is his strength. His intellect is his masterpiece. So what he does do well, very well to be honest, with his image, presence and personality is that he keeps it very smooth, he keeps it very fluid, he keeps it very warm and comforting. I mean, one of the significant personality traits of Dr. Shashi Tharoor, in case you don't know, besides his amazing intellectual verbose, is his body language and charm. If you haven't seen him interact with fellow MPs, you would have no idea what I'm actually trying to talk about. But all of it becomes a whole lot more easier for him because he uses his presence, he uses his sense of fashion, style and grooming to make him feel a lot more approachable, to make him feel a lot more non-confrontational. That is until he decides to open his mouth. So if you're an intellectual kind, if you're somebody who's relatively smart and sharp than the average masses, learn something from Dr. Shashi Tharoor in discussion. He does not decide to look shabby, he does not decide to look average, he does not decide to look anything less than what he is. He's always seen in sharp kurtas, sharp suits, band galas, Nehru jackets, you name it. Your intellect, intelligence or introvertedness should not be a reason for you to look hideous whenever you're trying to put yourself out there in public. If Dr. Shashi Tharoor can be such a fine example for us, what's stopping you from expressing your introverted ideas to the world very effectively? तो अब तक शायद क्लियर हो गया होगा कि भाई डजंट मैटर आपकी पर्सनालिटी कैसी है, आपके सोच विचार कैसे हैं, आपकी पढ़ाई, इंटेलिजेंस या फिर आपका बैंक बैलेंस कितना है. अगर आपने अपने प्रेजेंस पे, अगर आपने अपने इमेज और स्टाइल पे कायदे से सही ढंग से काम करना शुरू कर दिया और इन रोल मॉडल से, हमारे खुद के रोल मॉडल से कुछ कई चीज़ें सीखनी शुरू कर दी, देन इट विल नॉट टेक यू अ होल लॉट लॉन्ग to totally transform your look, and let all of these add so much more value to the words you speak, to the ideas you share, or the people you're trying to lead. But hey, I'm not only talking about the domestic leaders. ऐसे बहुत सारे जन हैं in the global leaders who also use this very effectively to be the leaders that they are in today's day and age. Again, Putin, Bush, Lincoln, Obama, Macron, and yes, of course, one of my current favorites, the governor of California, Gavin न्यूसम. बंदा हॉलीवुड हीरो से कम नहीं दिखता है. बिना किसी शार्प सूट के भी वो अपने शर्ट और जीन्स और बूट में भी भाई कमाल हीरो लगता है. He has a very fluid, a very charismatic body language. He is also a great speaker and he has the presidential look, which could probably mean something or the other in the coming future as we would see the world unfold. So, to quickly wrap things up, if you have a personality that believes in the idea of projecting power, clarity and assertiveness, then the aura or the presence of Srimati Indira Gandhi, the minimalist, classy, chic and polished, will be your incredible source of learning. पर अगर आपको अपना फैशन या स्टाइल, अगर आपको अपना प्रेजेंस एज अ सिंबल, एज अ मोड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन यूज करना है टू प्रॉब्ली हैव अ लार्जर इम्पैक्ट ऑन योर डिलीवरी एंड ऑन योर brand in general, then my friend, there is no better example than Shri Narendra Modi in discussion. Now, if you're someone on the softer side but who has a very high intellect, who wants to project his thoughts and ideas to the global world, then learn a thing or two from Dr. Shashi Tharoor, how he uses his charisma, his body language, his presence, his style to make his thoughts heard on the global stage, making it all look easy, effortless, not even a worthy try. But then if it's about being polished and the global politics, then Gavin Newsom is no less than a Hollywood politician in discussion. Look him up, see a few things about him, and hopefully learn a thing or two from his whole global image, presence and style. But do remember this one thing before I let you lose yourself again in the world of social media and algorithm, कि भाई लोग आपके आइडियाज़, आपके थॉट्स, आपके ओपिनियंस पे रिएक्ट बाद में करते हैं. वो पहले आपके हुलिये पे, आपके प्रेजेंस और आपके पर्सनालिटी को देख के आपके थॉट्स को वे करते हैं. अगर आप में वो प्रेजेंस नहीं है, अगर आप में वो ऑरा नहीं है, अगर आप में वो पर्सनालिटी नहीं है, तो भाई आप कितने भी बुद्धिमान क्यों ना हो जाओ, कितने भी पावरफुल या फिर इम्पैक्टफुल क्यों ना हो जाओ, आप अपने ट्रू पोटेंशियल से हमेशा थोड़े से कम ही दिखोगे. और इस थोड़े से कम का दिखना कैन एक्चुअली हैम्पर योर करियर, योर रिलेशनशिप्स, योर लाइफ in general. So I don't want you to miss out on the greatness of life. I would want you to learn from our leaders and use this beautiful thing called presence, personality and image to your full advantage so that you can live a wholehearted life. I'll see you in the next one. In case you would want me to help you out with your presence, personality and image like you would see in our great leaders or the leaders of the globe, you can shoot me an email or you can simply send me a DM on Instagram. See you in the next one. Jai Hind. Take care. Bye.